Welcome to Iowa Pagan News, your informative internet radio station catering to all pagans worldwide. We are dedicated to bringing you the very best in music, news, events, and lots of fun stuff. Come tune into our new podcast at www.plrdn.podbean.com. Now, here's your host, Lou Silverwolf Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Pagan Artist Spotlight on the Prairie Land Radio Network. And this afternoon, I am joined by my special guest, Lillith Dorsey, who is a author for Llewellyn. She wears a lot of different hats. She's also the editor and publisher of Ocean African Magical Quarterly, author of Voodoo and Afro-Caribbean Paganism, and the African American Ritual Cookbook. So welcome to the show. Thank you for taking time out to join me.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
You're very welcome. Now, you were one of the authors that not only did Marcus recommended you, but I had also seen your presentation on Llewellyn Con. So that was the reason why I had invited you on here.
Oh, thank you. That book, Water Magic for Llewellyn, that just won a cover award at the International New Age Trade Show in Denver. So Marcus and I got to have some fun, and I got to accept an award. So it was beautiful.
Nice. Okay, so let's start off with what was your upbringing like?
Well, I grew up in New York City, Brooklyn represent, and it was pretty cityfied. I mean, I feel like a lot of what I did was magic, but I didn't know it. I thought it was just, oh, well, my family threw salt over their shoulder, or always stirred the food a certain way, or did these things on New Year's Eve, or whatever, and when I got older, I learned that, oh, most people don't do that. And this is just the magic we had, when I was growing up.
Okay. Were you always wanting to be a writer, or?
No, I think people are going to hate me because I'm not sure I still even want to be a writer now. Okay. I went to film school. I went to NYU Film School for my undergrad and my grad. And I always tell people, a pen and paper is much cheaper than film. So I still make videos. I still have an active YouTube channel and all of those kinds of things. But I find myself on the other side of the camera more than behind the camera these days. So I did have a moment once. I remember going into the witchy bookstores when I was little. And for those you who remember New York, it was like Magical Child and enchantments and, these mysterious dark places. Weiser even had a store there that was like full of rare books, and they would try and throw me out because I was 11, 12 years old. And they're like, get this kid out of here. They're not going to buy $100 book. And I just would like leave cursing them. I'll show you, and now I guess I have. I'm in all those bookstores now.
I even remember Weiser books. I mean, that goes back a long way.
Yes, I'm a Weiser author too. Yeah, no, I remember going into that store and they did indeed throw me out. It's hilarious.
Wow.
I don't blame them. I was a 12-year-old kid. I didn't have any money. I just wanted to see the important books with the secrets in them,
So basically you were attracted to it for a long time then.
Oh, yeah. Well, my parents named me Lilith. So people always, like, whenever I'm on something, people are in the chat room going, why did you call yourself Lilith? And I'm like, I didn't. My parents named me Lilith. So that kind of, I think, came with this sort of mini invocation every time somebody said my name. So, and I just was fascinated with it in general. I was named after the book, not the goddess, actually. But that's even weirder than the goddess, probably, if you go back and look at it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so what? Okay, now, I know that you went to film school and you were doing that aspect of it, but let's see, what got you started on your spiritual path?
Well, I think I was like a lot of people. I started, the active part of my spiritual path. I used to do spells and potions. I grew up watching Bewitched and, I Dream a Genie and thinking I could just, if I just got the combination right or blinked the right way, I'd be able to, wiggle my nose and make things different. So I tried doing spells and potions. I got my first deck of tarot cards probably when I was about 10 or 11. And then it was just the obsessive, okay, does this kid like me? Does this kid not like me? Are they my friend? Are they not my friend? Over and over and over again until I learned it. And that was the first time I think I really considered myself a witch. When I was in high school, my best friend, she's also a witch, and she went on to start one of the largest covens in New York City. So it's just, we would do our witchy spells together and potions, and we would have these Xerox spells that we'd gotten from somewhere and everything like that. It really was this kind of like junior witchcraft edition of life, I think, that we had. Not that anything we did ever came to good. I won't say it didn't work, but it wasn't the best idea.
Yeah. So now, with you being up there in New York, do you know Star Ann?
I do. She actually moved to New York the year I moved away, and then I moved back, and I did Witches Fest for a very long time, and she did some of my events for a long time, and now I just moved to New Orleans, so I'm not doing it this year, but yeah, I have known her for a while.
Excellent. Now, with you being down there in New Orleans, are they still planning on having the Hex Fest this year?
Yes, we are going to have an in-person Hex Fest this year. Yes. It should be interesting.
Because I know that the big one, Voodoo Festival or Voodoo Fest, got canceled.
Yeah, Voodoo Fest did get canceled. I mean, Voodoo Fest is primarily a music festival, that one anyway. But they just had Essence Fest. So things are sort of up and down here. We had Jazz Fest, but I feel like almost everybody I know got sick during Jazz Fest, even though it's an outdoor event, so things sort of up and down here.
Nice. As I say, how are things shaping up down there? I mean, is New Orleans still as like it ever was, or?
It's bouncing back. I mean, it was a little scary there for times of it to see Bourbon Street with nobody on it. It really felt like the apocalypse, but in a way it was kind of, entertaining, because I'm not one for drunk crowds. I don't really know anybody who is one for drunk crowds, but that's not my thing.
Yeah, I can understand that.
We certainly have a lot of tourists. The tourists are back. The tourists are definitely back, and a lot of the events are back. And Hex Fest will be a good time. I'm actually Hex Fest. The organizers have a publishing company, and I'm one of their authors too. So I'm booked for Hex Fest for at least the next 5 years. So people will see me there.
Excellent. Now, one of these years I do plan to get down there, because I definitely want to be a part of it and check it out, and because there's just something that I need to be a part of, I guess. That's the only way I can explain it.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's interesting to me because a lot of people do that event. They don't do any other event, and some of the other events, I see the regulars who do every event and things like that. So I feel like that one really is unique. It's a unique group of people that come together there, and we have so much fun. It's jam packed. I think I'm doing 6 workshops, including 2 panels. And my dear friends, the Dragon Ritual drummers, are coming. They're always a really big draw. And they get to do a voodoo ritual that I'm helping them with, along with our priestess Miriam. So there's a lot of good things going on for that. And you wouldn't get to see it anywhere else. I feel like it's like a family reunion for us anyway.
Oh, I can definitely understand that. And Brian Henke says that he will see you at Starwood.
Oh, the wonderful Mr. Henke. No, I will not be at Starwood, unfortunately. We did the main ritual for Winter Star this year, so that was fascinating. We did it online, so it was sort of designed. It was like an outer space ritual, and Brian Henke was in it, actually. He's featured in it. People can watch it on YouTube if they want to. It's free now. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, unfortunately, I'm going to miss it. I am not doing my regular summer touring schedule this year. Probably because I have a big announcement. I just started a community garden. So the city gave me a space to start a community garden full of native plants and herbs and berries and things like that. That's all going to be given away free. So I'm really happy about that, but got a lot of work.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely going to have some work ahead of you with that.
Yeah, it was 113 degrees with the heat index the other day. So this is going to be fun. Yeah.
Well, I guess I shouldn't be saying anything because, the heat index hit 107 here today.
Wow.
So, yeah, the heat index has been nuts lately.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw all those memes about, it's time to turn on the air conditioner and stay in until November. So I wish I could stay in until November, but.
No, you're not going to be able to there, dear, especially with the projects you've got going on.
No, I'll be out there digging in the hot sun, trying not to die. Yeah.
And you just need to get you one of those big floppy hats.
I have one. I have a parasol. I have all of these things. Yes.
Brian says it's a bummer that you won't be there, but yay for the garden.
Yes, I know. I'm sending my love to everybody who's out there. I did that event for so long, and part of my heart is there with all of those wonderful people.
Yep. Brian was trying to get me to go this year too, but it's like, how about we just do an interview from Starwood there? So that's what we're going to be doing next week. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yep. He's going to be live from Starwood with me next week. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Fantastic.
So let's see. Well, with the community garden that you've got going on, any other projects, besides HexFest, any other projects that you've got going on down there?
Well, I have a lot of online projects. Like I said, I'm doing less in person, even though things are starting to creep back. I'm doing less in person. Although I think I might be there's a Nashville Folk Magic Festival in September that I think I'm going to do. My daughter lives in Nashville. And let's see, what else am I doing? I'm doing some online classes for the College of Psychic Sciences in London. So that's exciting. I have my regular online classes that pop up. There's some with Catland in New York, and there's some other ones going on. So people can catch me wherever they are. So that's what I have to say. I can come right into your living room.
Excellent. Let's see. Oh, now this is a question I've been asking everybody. With all of our newcomers coming into the community, what would be your best piece of advice?
Oh, okay. What's my best piece of advice? Let's see. Well, I think that a lot of witchcraft now gets based on, this person looks good in a pointy hat on TikTok, and I'm all about that. That's lovely. But I feel like when we came up, we were just talking about Wiser, you know what I mean? There was people who had much more experience before they began their witchcraft. And I think that experience with anything allows you to not make some of the mistakes that your teachers have made, and that's why what we have is an initiation-based tradition, and you have to be initiated into our traditions, and that's by someone who's been in it longer than you. So you have a lineage, you have a family, you have a community that's there to back you up. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a solitary, but like anything else, if you get other people that you can work with and learn from, and they can learn from you, I think that will take you a lot further than just following whoever happens to be the hot witch this week on TikTok.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on that. There's just too much misinformation on TikTok and a lot of negative energy.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of calling out of behaviors, and I'm not saying I don't see things wrong, but I don't see those people in turn making positive change. I talked about my book, Water Magic, and somebody interviewed me last week about what should they do if they want to get involved with the African Orishas like Yemaya, who are in charge of the sea. And I said, well, go to the beach and clean it up. But people don't want to hear that. Like, people don't want to hear what? I'm supposed to pick up garbage and dirty needles and, diapers and stuff. And I'm like, yes, you are. Like, there's only two ways to do this. And both of them include taking care of the ocean, recycling, taking care of the beach, conserving water, all of those things. And that's the first thing I would love to see people doing, as opposed to attacking other people. Like, I don't really see what the end result is in that. It reminds me of prison logic, like if I shank the biggest person the minute I walk in, then everybody will think I'm tough and they'll listen to me. But hopefully we're not all in prison yet, and we don't have to have prison logic. Like, we can work together in order to make ourselves better and the community better and the earth better and move forward in that way. And that's what I really think being a witch is all about. I mean, if there's a crappy person, I'm the first person in private to say, this person's crappy. This person went to the airport and left somebody there with heads in a bag, or stole my money, or what. And that both of those things have happened. But
well, yeah, in New York, I can see that.
You're going to look like the crazy person if you're following that person around with a giant sign going, they're terrible. And they're just going to go, she's crazy. They're crazy. Like, don't listen to them. Look, they're already, not making any sense, So I just choose to conduct myself how I conduct myself the best way possible, and I think that's why I get less attacks than, other people. Although I'm sure someone's going to attack me over this, but I can fight back.
No. Hopefully not. Okay, so let's talk about the book Orishas, Goddesses, and Voodoo Queens. Now, what was the inspiration behind this book?
Every time someone asks me, it's like a cliche. It was the book I wanted to write. It was about the divine feminine. I grew up hearing about all this male-dominated history and things like that. I mean, I think I really started writing because I had an anthropology teacher that told me there was no such thing as magic in the world anymore. And I was like, you're wrong. And I know you're wrong. And I'm going to start writing about it. So academics know that you're wrong. And this isn't the accepted belief out there. And I just got tired of it. So the Orishas book, I wanted to write it for a very long time. And I had written other books that other people wanted me to write, and they were less successful. And then I finally just said, I'm going to write the book I want to write. And it's been wildly successful. It's a bestseller. I think it was, I just checked before we came on. I think it's number 10,000 in the world today. So, like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, right. And that's 2 years after it came out. So that's still, it's still out there, and it really is a standard for people. And it's not just for people who identify as female. I mean, I think it's for anybody who has a gap in their knowledge about African religion, about African goddesses and Orisha, about how to sort of understand what those strengths are and how to foster those strengths in yourself and in those around you. I mean, I'm looking at all these people, they write workbooks. And for me, I probably would have put the word workbook on there if I could, because there's so many ways you can get in touch with them. I talk about dance. I talk about music. I talk about all different writings and things like that, so that if, maybe your thing is not dance, but you can listen to music. Maybe your thing is not music, you like herbs. So I list the herbs for them, or food, or recipes, spells, all of those things are in that book. So, and it was fun to write, really.
I was just thinking, there was another author who I had interviewed just a short time ago that was also talking about Caribbean magic. And I want to say that was Oble, I think, or Obey, or something along those lines.
Obeah?
Obea, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, how did you apply yourself to writing about the Orishas?
Well, I mean, I think I started pretty much, wanting to know more about African magic. I mean, the same teacher who was telling me witchcraft and magic didn't exist was putting these, writings in front of me about, African stuff is bad, it's evil. I have an anthro degree in addition to the film degree, so a lot of what I saw in the films were that it was evil, or that it was, focused on hexes and curses and all of that stuff. And I knew that was wrong. And I mentioned my priestess Miriam. I met her out of Starwood the first time, actually. And I drove 12 hours. I packed my kid in the car, who was very small at the time, and we drove 12 hours with a tiny tent. And, and I was like, I'm going to meet the real voodoo priestess. And the way we do things here in the Voodoo Spiritual Temple that Priestess Miriam runs is we started and we had two Santeros that were drummers that came from Cuba, and they, did Orisha worship. So that sort of found its way into our practices at the temple. Normally in a Voodoo temple, you wouldn't do Orisha because those are, Cuban or Puerto Rican, and, the origins go back to Africa, but the actual practice primarily has been through those countries in the past maybe 300-400 years. But because we had those drummers there, because they were, lending their energy, their drumming, their whole being to the ceremonies, we started to have Orisha in them. And as I went on, I had good friends that were Orisha practitioners, and I had a situation. My daughter was killed, unfortunately.
Oh.
And I had a legal case that I needed to win and to get justice. And I went to my friend and she said, okay, let me do a reading. We can get you the justice you need in the situation, but you also have to initiate. So that's how I started practicing Santo, or Santeria, as people call it.
So yeah, Santeria is big in New Orleans.
Oh, yes. Yes. I think it was always pretty big, but now it's definitely getting much more open. And, after the Church of Babaluaye decision and everything like that, I mean, that's what we heard about initially, this first sort of wave of people talking about Santeria in conjunction with animal sacrifice and the Supreme Court decision and things like that. But I think slowly since that point, it's become more and more commonplace and accepted, and people realize it's not all about animal sacrifice. It's not all about evil. The same thing with voodoo. People know it's not necessarily about dolls or zombies or those kinds of things. That's really what the media and the misconceptions have been all about.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So with you being down there in New Orleans, how many spiritual practices do you see down there?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. And I feel like each one is different. Even if you have two different Haitian spiritual houses, they could be very different, because one could be, from Haiti via Jacmel, and one could be from Haiti via Brooklyn, and another one could be from, this person went to Africa and then incorporated some other stuff in there. So it really is almost as different as every practitioner that there is. There's stores that practice every variety of African traditional religion. There's Botanica Mukumba. There's, I mentioned my Priestess Miriam has the Voodoo Spiritual Temple. There's a couple of other Haitian Voodoo stores in town. There's a bazillion witchcraft stores in town, and more every day.
Yeah, that is a fact. And that's something else that I plan to check out once I am able to make the trip down there. So that I'm gonna be spending, once I'm able to come down there to New Orleans, I'm gonna be spending a lot of time down there.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, there's a store that's in Marie Laveau's old house, so that's nice. You can check that out, which I guess she actually used to use as sort of a camp for homeless indigenous people in her backyard. She let them camp out there with tents and, barbecues and things like that. So that's fascinating. But there's just so much. There's really so much, and so many different practitioners in the city, and everybody's got their own thing. And I'm happy to be here. I mean, I think there's something different about the city because it's below sea level. I mentioned I just came back from Denver, which is, Mile High City all the way up there. I don't do that well in high altitudes. I'm much better below the waters here.
Well, as I say, with all the different spiritual practices that are there in New Orleans, I mean, is it widely accepted and respected?
I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's more accepted anywhere else in the country that I've been. I had to go to the emergency room because I got an ant bite, and right on my vein, it was the queen. It was a whole nother thing. But they went, "What's your religion?" And I went, "Voodoo." And I've done that every time I've ever had to go to the emergency room for the whole rest of my life. And they give me a dirty look. And this time the woman just wrote it down. That was fine. Not that the medical care was any better, but at least they let me write down Voodoo in the little religion box.
Oh, yeah. You would think that they would almost expect that down there.
No, it's more accepted, but it's also still very Christian. You know what I mean? It's a red state. Once you step outside of New Orleans, it's a red state very easily. So that's different. But I think people realize that voodoo is part of the tradition of this city, and people are more open to it, more welcoming. I mean, people are still scared. I see that still a little bit. But I think that works in our favor too. Like I have my voodoo veves, which are like sigils that we do out on the front yard, and hopefully nobody will mess with it. Like I think that there's definitely more respect here.
Nice. Okay, we're going to take a brief timeout for some words from our sponsors, and then we're going to be right back with more with Lillith Dorsey. So don't go nowhere. We're going to be right back right after this.
I just walked into this coffee shop. You'll never guess what I found. All the help is deeply engrossed in metaphysical times. You should too. I'm at the Egyptian, 475 Park Avenue in Idaho Falls, Idaho. You get your very own coffee for free, and we're open till 10.
Sister Moon, Apothecary and More is a collaboration of local island witches bringing you handcrafted tools for ritual, amazing apothecary, custom vinyl work, merchandise, and so much more. But we are not just an online store. We are a sisterhood, a platform, and a voice for everything that is magical. Join us for our famous Tarot Tuesdays from 11 to 4 Eastern Standard Time for a discounted reading with our amazing in-house intuitive reader and priestess, Wolf Spirit Energy, Beverly Overlane. You can find us on Facebook at Sister Moon Store or on the web at sistermoon.shop. So fly on over and stop in for a spell.
Here, you're listening to Iowa Pagan News Radio.
You are listening to Pagan Artist Spotlight on the Prairie Land Radio Network and the Podbean Podcast Network.
All right, we are back with Lillith Dorsey, and we're talking about all the different spiritual practices that are down there in New Orleans, and her book Orishas. And now you've also got a couple of other books here as well. Yeah, I believe the other one was Voodoo and Afro-Caribbean Paganism, which I believe that, and plus you've also got another one here on Voodoo and African traditions, traditional religion, plus water magic. Now, on the on the other two here, the Voodoo and Afro-Caribbean Paganism and the Voodoo books. Now, are those just short ones that you wrote?
The first one, Voodoo and Afro-Caribbean Paganism, that was published in 2004, but it went out of print. So now it was reprinted last year as Voodoo and African Traditional Religion, which is good because a lot of stuff happened in those 15 years since I wrote it the first time. So it's basically like, that's the one by Warlock Press. It's basically a really good intro for people. Maybe they're connected to the Orisha or the Loa, or they don't even know the difference between, you mentioned Obeah, there's a chapter on Obeah, like what's the difference between Obeah? What's going to happen in that kind of ritual? What's going to happen in a Santeria ritual? How are they different? How are they the same? where do they come from? All of those things is covered in that book. And I'm really happy it got reprinted, and because people would tell me they were paying, I think, $900 for it when it was out of print. And I didn't see any of that. And that just made me sad, so I'm glad it's been reprinted.
I was gonna say $900 for a small book. Okay. I don't know where they're having to buy it from, but it's like
I used to tell people I would put on a bikini and read it to them for $900. Like, that's a lot of money.
No kidding.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of things that you can do with that $900.
Definitely. So ridiculous. But yeah, I'm glad that's back in print. So, and yeah, that's good.
Now, are you seeing your books being carried at the local shops down there?
Yeah, a lot of them do carry my books, and I'm always happy when people like snap a picture and send it to me. That makes me so happy. But yeah, there's about maybe 10 stores in New Orleans that carry my books. So I'm really pleased about that. You mentioned Hex in New Orleans. Well, they have a store in Salem as well. They carry them. They carry all of them. You walk in, you'll see me because I'm on the cover of it, me in the swamp in the cold with no shoes on and a machete.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easily recognizable. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a interesting cover picture.
Yeah. I do a flaming machete too, but that they didn't want that. They were already afraid we were going to do some damage to the swamp. So they gave us a little park ranger. It was so cute.
Nothing wrong with a little fire play. Because I know several fire spinners who would basically be right up there with you.
Yeah, we did a Fringe Fest in New Orleans about a decade back where we had a bunch of, fire performers. And even I mentioned the Dragon Ritual Drummers. We did a ritual in Canada once that was all fire. Like I did the fire machete and people had poi and things like that. And somebody had these flaming mushroom spores that actually ignite and then kind of like glitter and glimmer as they fall. It was beautiful. But it was nuts. I will say that. Nobody went on fire, but it was nuts.
Nice. Actually, my good friend Patsy, who is tuning in this evening, she's actually down there on the North Shore.
Oh, nice. Close. Yay. We got a lot of rain. I'm sure they got a lot of rain on the North Shore too. It's crazy flooding here.
No, I don't. I know how much rain that you guys get is there's one group in particular that I watch all their shows, and that's Villalobos down there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so now with the book Water Magic, what was the inspiration for that one?
Well, actually, my editor from Llewellyn, Heather Green, came to me and said she wanted to do an elemental series. And she wanted to start with water, and she wanted to know if I would write it. So I said yes. It was surprising to me because I don't think of myself as a water person. I'm an Aries. We're sitting here talking about fire machetes and things like that. But when I thought about it deeper, pardon the pun, I realized I'd always grown up near water. I grew up in Brooklyn, like right where the East River goes out, under the Verrazano to the ocean. And here in New Orleans, I'm right next to the canal, which you walk a little bit further, 10 blocks down, you're at the Mississippi. And then we're so close to the lake, and not just one lake, we're close to 3 lakes. So now, and I'm below sea level. So it's like I have, my backyard's flooded right now. So there's a lot of water. And what I tell people when they pick up the book, they're like, oh, I don't have a connection to water. And your brain is mostly water. Your body's mostly water. The earth is mostly water. So even if you don't have a connection to water, even if you only drink coffee most of the time, like me, you need water to make that coffee. So water's there, whether you want to admit it or not. And I think opening up to that was sort of my way to access the book. but it was so much fun because there's everything in there. There's every god or goddess, all over the world that I could come up with that had something to do with water. There's creation myths from all over the globe that have to do with water. I had a friend of mine who's has her PhD in linguistics talk about the origins of the word water, and how water, when you say it, is like almost the same sound in a whole bunch of different languages. Like there's some sort of primal noise that we make when we're talking about water, which I thought was fascinating. I had a Taino elder write a piece about it. I had my friend, Witch Dr. Utu, who I just mentioned from the Dragon Ritual Drummers. They do rituals at Niagara Falls. So he talked about their ritual connection to Niagara Falls. I had Brian Henke was talking about Starwood. My dear friend Fat Man D does Starwood. She's got a piece in the book about the place where the rivers come together in Pittsburgh. That's always been a sacred site for people who were there. So it's like, it's not just, oh, this is a water magic book about how to make a sacred bath, because that's in there. It really is. But everything else you might want to know about water is also in there. And I think that's what makes it such a great resource. I can say, oh, what herbs are ruled by water? Oh, what tarot cards are associated with water? What other divination can I do with water? All of that is in that book.
Now, speaking of Utu, I have not heard from Utu in a while. How's he doing?
He's doing good. I just heard from him this morning. No, I'm not speaking for him, but I did just hear from him this morning. He's doing good. They're going to come out to Hexfest. They just did attended a large unveiling ceremony for the Harriet Tubman statue up there in St. Catharines, I believe. So, yeah, he's doing good.
Nice. Well, as I say, 'cause like I said, I had not heard from him in quite a while. I mean, the last time I spoke with him, oh God, that's been, I want to say back about 3-4 years ago. And
they haven't been able to travel with COVID and everything like that. So I think this is the first time that they're going to be doing an event when they come down for Hexfest. So I'm excited. I think in the 20 years that I've known them, I think this is the longest time I've ever gone without seeing them. So I miss them terribly. And I'm very excited I'm going to get to see them again.
He's one person I'm definitely have to get back in touch with, because I really had fun talking with him. And so, yeah, I'll have to get caught up with him. But I'm showing everybody your webpage and the book Water Magic, which you can also get through Llewellyn. And now, did Jason Mankey write the foreword for you on this book?
No. Heather Green wrote the foreword. She was the editor for the series, so she's in the foreword for all of them. Jason just wrote an endorsement, but I love Jason Mankey. You mentioning Utu. There are secret pictures of him and me and Utu having hair wars, because for some reason, those, I won't curse, think that they have better hair than I do, and I disagree. So
I was say, I'm thinking that Utu might have, he might be right up there with you.
Well, the three of us, we were trying to have like a hair metal moment. I suppose we'll have to do it again next time we're all together, but there are pictures of us. And I think I won the vote, although maybe people were just being nice to me, but I still think I have the best hair. We'll see. They're getting older. That's what I have to say about that. And I still have a ton of hair. I have so much hair, like I could use a whole nother frame here just for my hair.
Oh, lovely. Now, as I say, with the voodoo religion, and also with the so many other ones that are present down there, that I know that the natives have a thing about keeping their hair long. It's almost the same as Native Americans.
Yeah, there's a Yoruba saying about people sprout wickedness, like they sprout hair. So there's a whole tradition where you have certain hairstyles associated with certain Orisha and things like that. And there's definitely a power thing to your hair. I had a good friend who went to Haiti in the military in the 80s. and the army told him he wasn't allowed to throw his hair out in the garbage. And I was like, wait a minute, you're telling me the US military is worried about people doing voodoo on their hair? And apparently, yeah, that's what they told him. So I was like, huh, that's fascinating. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I could probably see that happening, especially for those who are heavily into voodoo. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. He thought it was funny too, because they had to put it in special little bags and then they had to burn it, and somebody had to watch while they were burning it. So it was like, okay.
Now, Patsy wants to know, do you do personal work for people, for example, healing rituals?
Yes, I do. I usually recommend people get a reading first so we see what's possible. You know what I mean? It's like when you go to a doctor and the doctor's like, where does it hurt? And they have to do tests. So as far as I'm concerned, getting a reading is like those tests. Some people might need a whole full giant ritual. Some people might need something really small. There might be nothing really that you could do other than to make them comfortable. So that's why I ask for people to get a reading first. I mean, when I used to do it without doing the reading first, people would get whatever they asked for, and then it wouldn't be what they wanted, or it would have that, I call it the Twilight Zone twist. You know what I mean? Where something's like, oh, I don't want this, So now we do the reading first. And most of the time, what happens is it's something very simple that people can do. I always ask first, like, oh, can the person do a working themselves at home rather than doing some big giant ritual where I have to be there, or they need hundreds of dollars of supplies or something like that? Because most of the time it is really something simple that you can do.
Nice. Kenya Koviak just popped in and said that she's popping in before work, and she is saying hi and bye.
All right. Hi and bye, Kenya. I love you.
Nice. And Patsy definitely said that she definitely wants to get together with you and let's talk.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. Now, I have been putting up your website, which is lillithdorsey.com, where you can find a lot of great information on her website. And then you also do a blog for Pathos as well.
Yes, that is the largest voodoo blog in the world. There are over 700 posts on there. So if there's a question that I didn't get to answer in this interview, chances are you could look on there and I may have answered it already, because 700 is a lot of posts.
Yeah, it is. And basically it's pathos.com/blogs/voodoo universe. So for those of you out there who want to look it up later, definitely check it out, because there's probably going to be answers on there for questions that you may have. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, yeah, she says that Patsy also says she's going to have to get your information. So I'm pretty sure she'll be reaching out to you later on.
All right, that's great.
So now,
people can find me anywhere. I mean, they can find me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. I'm on all of those lovely things. I have a Pinterest page. I'm on all of those lovely things.
Very cool. Are there any of the local shops that they can find you on a regular basis?
Well, let me see. I'm trying to think. I'm like, obviously I mentioned Hex here in New Orleans. They can find me there. I'm trying to think who else has signed copies. Well, if anybody wants signed copies, they can contact me directly, voodoouniverse@yahoo.com. That'll find me. Or if they don't have that, they can go through my website and message me there. That'll get to me. I do have free stickers. If anybody wants one of those, again, just message me on social media or email or anything like that. Free stickers for all the books, really.
Excellent. As I say, I wasn't sure if there was any of the local shops that you tend to hang out at the most, and where people could actually meet up with you.
Well, I mean, people can book in-person readings. We are doing that again. So again, they can just message me. My priestess at the Voodoo Spiritual Temple, which is 1428 North Rampart here in New Orleans, almost always has my books as well. So they may find me there. I'm probably there more than I am in any other shop.
Very nice. So now, do you have any projects that you're going to be working on here in the near future?
I mean, we have NDAs, but I've been doing a lot of filming lately. I think I can say that because some things have sort of cropped up on IMDb and stuff like that. So hopefully there'll be more public filming of me in the future. So that'll be nice. And like I said, just working on the community garden, working on getting everything together, hopefully doing another European tour coming in the fall, but that's in the works. So we'll see.
Excellent. Well, let's see. Let's see what Patsy's got here. She says she's interested in more than books, but still interested in that also. She was saying that to Kenya because Kenya was saying definitely buy her book. And
Kenya's still there. Okay, although now she's not. Okay, Kenya.
Oh, shoot.
It's funny. That's great. Yeah. Kenya and I did Witches Fest together. That was great. That was lovely. We had a good time.
I'll just say, are you going to have a chance to go up to Witches Fest?
I don't think I'm going to make it this year. Like I said, I'm talking to some people about maybe doing something at different stores in New York City, go back home for a bit. But no, I'm not going to make it to Witches Fest, unfortunately. But I send my love to everybody up there. It was so funny for me to be able to do Witches Fest because it's right there. For those of you who don't know, it's on Astor Place, which you can see NYU Film School from Astor Place. So it was really kind of a big, curse word, middle finger gesture towards my alma mater.
I get the picture.
Well, they ended up cutting all my funding when I was in grad school, and I was a single mom, and it was just going from getting funding for grad school to getting nothing was terrible. And I went into the office and I cried, and it's my favorite story. I ended up getting a special scholarship they had that was left by Al Capone. So Al Capone actually paid for me to finish my master's degree.
Okay.
I know, right? So weird.
Having a connection to old Al Capone. Interesting.
Yeah. Good old Al Capone. I guess that he did some of that money that wasn't tax evaded. He hid it at NYU.
And Patsy wants to know if she can message you on Facebook.
Yes.
Excellent. Now I've got your Facebook link up so that I put that up right after she had asked for it. So that way she's
right
got
on.
it, and everybody else got it. You can find her on Facebook under Lillith Dorsey. It's easy enough to do. And like I said, go to lilithdorsey.com and pick up her books. Read up on her information that she's got on there. Then also check out the Voodoo Universe on pathos.com. And there's a lot of great information on there as well.
There is. I mean, I really put a ton of stuff up there. I have a minor in plant science, so there's a whole herbs of hoodoo section that people can check out. I did a whole divination section where I've interviewed people like Matt Oren and Deb Lip and like some of the biggest names in witchcraft I've interviewed about how they started with divination and tarot and things like that. It's a really fascinating series. And then obviously stuff about voodoo, stuff about candomblé and Ifa and witchcraft in general, stuff about events that we do, things like that, holidays, recipes.
Excellent. Well, I'm definitely going to have to get my hands on a copy of the book. That's for sure.
I hope you like it.
Definitely going to have a chat with Marcus. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I definitely want to thank you for taking time out to join me tonight. This has been fun, and we will definitely be staying in touch.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
You're very welcome. And as always, folks, if you like to help support what we're doing here at IAPN Radio, be sure to you can actually make donations to us directly on PayPal at iowapagannews at Gmail or on our Cash App at IAPN Radio 2750. That way you can help support what we're doing here, keep the lights on, keep up. That way we can continue to bring you great programming and have special guests on each and every, in fact, almost daily basis, each and every week. So be sure to help support what we've got going on. If you have questions for me directly, email me directly at earl@iapnradio.net or iowapagannews at Gmail. Now, with the weather being like it is, just be careful with the heat. Because, like I said, heat index already hit triple digits up here in Iowa today. And even though it's supposed to cool off tomorrow, don't be taking any chances. And if you're gonna be out and about, just make sure you're wearing sunscreen. Keep yourself hydrated. Keep everyone else around you hydrated, and we will definitely be seeing you again tomorrow. I've got a special guest, my good friend and author Byron Ballard, who is also she's kind of like the mom to a lot of people in the pagan community. And as well, I've also got, let's see, who else have I? Oh, yeah. Then we've got Brian Henke coming up on the 11th. And he's going to be coming directly from Starwood live. So be sure to check that out. So with that being said, I'm going to say good evening, everyone. Pleasant journeys. And again, we will see you tomorrow for my interview with Byron Ballard, which is going to be a really fun time. I'm looking forward to getting caught up with her again. So I will see you again tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, and we're going to be out of here for the night.
Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. All shows are recorded and available for download at plrdn.podbean.com. All rights are reserved and may not be replayed without written permission by IAPN Radio Management. Come join us at our new group, IAPN Radio on Facebook, where you can be kept up to date for future broadcasts. Pleasant journeys, everyone.